There's been a lot of discourse about the relevance of Superman and whether or not modern audiences can buy into the idea of the character. While a lot of this discussion is directed at his appearances in film, where his character is usually a paper-thin allegory for some religious figure, a lot of the editorial staff behind the character's parent company are starting to agree. According to a recent article in Variety, Warner Brothers considered scaling back Superman's role in future films, citing that the explosion of unconventional heroes like the Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man has audiences thinking that the Superman archetype might not be as appealing to contemporary viewers. This uncertainty is even spread to Superman's home in comic books, with DC's New 52 giving a darker, more conflicted take on the character, and throwing more spectacle and sci-fi elements into his stories. I have to admit, after reading most of Brian Bendis' underwhelming run, I started to feel uncertain myself. How could these creators find a way to make Superman matter again? And then I found it. A story that is so much more than a return to form. A story that cuts to the core of Superman's character and uses it to inspire change in a society that's hurting. In 3 short issues of Action Comics, writer Greg Pak and artist Aaron Kuder gave readers Hard Truth, a story that celebrates Clark Kent's place among his adopted home and the inspiring force for good that he represents. "2015 was a year marked by tragedy and social strife. Reports revealed that ICE deported more than 2.5 million immigrants since 2009, often brutally. The murders of Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, and countless others at the hands of law enforcement only reinforced this distrust in the powers that be, rippling through independent books like APB to DC's very own Action Comics. There, Pak worked with artist Aaron Kuder to bring Superman back to his roots, reacquainting him with the world and people he calls home. This began with Kuder's new design for the character, swapping the iconic cape and costume for a battered t-shirt and jeans. In Pak's words, "Superman's always been one of us, a man of the people." Using bright colors and crisp, defined line work, Kuder's art evokes the bright, wholesome art of All-Star Superman's Frank Quitely, but with a couple of distinct changes. While Quitely's Superman is often statuesque and clean, Kuder draws the character with an intense dynamism, externalizing Clark's anger and desperation. "Superman's not a monolith," states Pak, "he's a hero. He's in motion, trying to do the right thing in the world, and he's struggling. That's what makes him compelling." While the Superman book had a number of personal stories before, the character's general direction taken in the New 52 leaned more into bigger spectacle than delivering a message. Instead of standing up to corrupt businessmen and intolerant demagogues, Superman grappled with ancient aliens bent on world domination, a genocidal survivor from his homeworld, and psychic threats from the new gods. This dilution of Superman's political origins made for an entirely different read of the character. Clark's invulnerability to human suffering became more of a privilege for the character than a means to shift the status quo. Using his background in political science and his experiences as a Korean American, Pak sought to deconstruct this perceived privilege and explore Clark's place among his adopted home without it. I think the experiences of Clark Kent have always resonated with me. He's a person from 2 worlds, but at the same time, he's wholly of the world he's in, and villains could identify him as something to be feared. By removing Clark's invulnerability and secret identity, Hard Truth swaps Superman's privileged status with a mix of Black American and immigrant experiences, interrogating how Clark, not Superman, would grapple with a society that fears and hates him. Hard Truth begins in Alaska, with the recently depowered Clark making the long hike back to civilization. More than just being unable to fly, Pak frames Clark's depowering as a kind of culture shock, exposing him to all kinds of human problems and sensations for the first time.
Holy cow. Never really knew what hungry was, did I?
Pack also externalizes Clark's alien otherness by having locals start to recognize him as he passes from town to town. While some look at him with reverence, others see Superman's depowering as a chance to tell this alien how they really feel. People may have been nice to Clark when they couldn't hurt him, but all of that goes away when his powers are gone. This hatred only becomes more pronounced as Clark returns home to Metropolis. While his neighbors welcome him back with love and acceptance, his former allies in the police force target him and his friends, using Clark's temporary absence to lay siege to his neighborhood. The situation escalates as the police fire tear gas on the citizens and begin to move in. What follows is one of the most heartfelt moments in Superman's history since Morrison's All-Star.
I'm so damn tired. I could barely lift the chains. I can't clap my hands and make it all blow away. I can't fight for them, but I can still stand with them.
Despite his best efforts, Superman can't stop what's about to happen. Clark is savagely beaten by the militarized Metro SWAT team, and what was once a peaceful protest erupts with violence and rage. But while Clark isn't strong enough to stop the violence on his own, his willingness to stand against oppression rallies his community, allowing them to drive off their attackers. In the wake of their victory, Clark sets out on his own, giving one last message to his adopted home.
I'm not strong enough for this. Not anymore. I can't be here to protect each of you every second. I'm going to do everything I possibly can. But it won't be enough. You should walk away now. We all should. But if you're going to stay, you have to protect yourselves and each other. You're all Superman now.
Across 3 issues, Pack and Kuder cut past the more fantastical elements of Superman to rediscover the character's innermost source of power. Superman might be more powerful than a locomotive, but Clark Kent's willingness to fight for the oppressed, even in the face of certain death, is an unparalleled strength. While the underlying themes of hard truth are much more grounded and human, they share a surprising amount of ground with the epic, cosmic ending of All-Star Superman. Clark Kent's example teaches us that the only way through any hardship is reliance on one another. While Hard Truth's story continued for a while in Action Comics, issues 41 through 43 stand apart, distilling the message that Siegel and Schuster used to first create the character. Superman might be the ideal we aspire to be, but we alone have the power to leave the world better than when we found it. It's this message, juxtaposed against 2015's politics, that gave Pack and Kuder the means to rediscover the heart of the character. We always know that Superman does the right thing, but that's not easy, muses Pack. What makes the character compelling isn't that he just does the right thing, but that he fights to do the right thing. That's part of the glory of Superman, though. That's why we've been telling stories with this character for 75 years. Published in June of 2015, Hard Truth remains both relevant and inspiring today. With those in power using fear to demonize what's different, and abusing the systems meant to keep their people safe, it falls on every citizen to answer the call and look out for each other. After all, we're all Superman now. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. There's a lot of injustice in the world right now, and I wanted to look at something that really showed how comics as a media depicted those issues and inspired change in their own way. Black Lives Matter, and if you want to help out in some way, I've linked some resources below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate likes, comments, and shares, and if you want to stay updated on what I'm doing next, subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. There's plenty more to come, so until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned.